He has effectively declared war on Iran, and now we're looking at world war potentially. So as a result, you have the legal grounds for him to be removed. Now, apparently, there is a new Truth Social that was just brought to our attention by our trusty behind the scenes champ, Colin Tooley. But also Wasim Garani with the 279 Canadian A. Trump's Truth Social just came offline. That's very interesting. Let's see what he had to say. I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m. Eastern Time at the White House regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is an historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. Yeah, he's living in an alternate universe. He's living in an alternate universe. You just attacked them, and now you're saying, oh, they better listen or we're going to have people. He's out of his mind. And the people around him are just as guilty, if not more guilty, because they know better. This is not going to end well. I mean, I would say that about a lot of people, to be honest. You know what this reads like? It almost reads like something that Netanyahu told him to say. We just killed a bunch of Palestinian kids today. I wonder if they learned their lesson, because that's what it sounds like. We are living through idiocracy. On a bright note, we just passed 41,000 subscribers. Whoop-de-doo. And in the grand scheme of things, who cares? Oh, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I knew you'd be here. You must support war with Iran or else you're an anti-Semite. Hey, call me whatever you want. But I can see the inner self of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That's what she really looks like. Whew. I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're just some troll supporter of our channel, but whatever it is, I give you credit. I like you showing your true colors. You really need to do that. I want to play one more clip. Going to play a clip from Kim Iversen, friend of the show. Does a great show. And this, I think, is going to explain the sort of modus operandi regarding the whole concept of attack, deflect, and blame. And perhaps this was all in motion to begin with. So Kim Iversen, who does amazing work, here's what she had to say about this.
You can't bomb Iran one day, then complain about illegal immigration the next. You can't send weapons to Israel or start World War III and then act confused when our borders are overwhelmed and our communities are stretched thin. Donald Trump campaigned in 2016 on ending endless wars. He was right. But now he's backing Israel to the hilt, surrounding himself with war hawks, talking about strikes on Iran, and refusing to stand against the people pushing us into another regional disaster. That's not America first. That's neocons first. That's Israel first. And if we go down this path again, it's not going to make America great. It's going to break us.
And that is exactly where we are now. We are at the point where we're going to break. So either we unite, if you will, as the United States of America, or we are in deep shit. We all have Israel fatigue. We have Zionist fatigue. And they are driving our domestic and foreign policy, which has led to the attack on Iran this evening. Donald Trump did not wake up one day and decide we totally have to go to war with Iran. No. His financial backers, led by the Israel lobby, Miriam Adelson and the like, said, we have to go after Iran because Iran is coming after us. You know, the war that we started that we thought we had under control, now we don't have it under control. So now you have to go in there and take care of business for us. We'll continue.
So let's look at the facts, not the spins, not the slogans. Let's look at the actual history of what happens when America gets involved in another Middle Eastern war. The Iraq War from 2003 to well, actually, let's back up. Let's go ahead and back up a little bit further back from there. Let's go ahead and look at the when we toppled Iran the first time around. What happened there? Over 50,000 Iranians fled to the U.S. after the fall of the Shah in 1979. Today, over 500,000 Iranians have resettled into the United States, many from that wave and from subsequent waves. And after the recent Israeli strikes on Tehran, over 100,000 Iranians have already fled major cities just within the last few days. So if war breaks out, conservative estimates are that about 2 to 5 million Iranians could be displaced in the first year alone. And where do you think they're going to go? Where are they going to go? Their families. We have 500,000 Iranians already in the United States. So they have family members. They're going to reunite. They're going to bring their families into the United States. You don't want all those refugees? You don't want all those migrants? How about you stop cheering for war? The Iraq War, from 2003 to 2011, there were over 4 million Iraqis who were displaced. 2 million fled abroad. 130,000 of those were resettled in the United States between 2007 and 2014. So a lot of those Iraqis went into Europe. And a lot of you talk about, oh, look at Europe. We don't want to become the next Europe. Look at what's happening to them. The UK is not even recognizable anymore. I'm hearing this all the time. Europe isn't recognizable. It's no longer Europe because of all these migrants that have flooded in. Well, that is because our Iraq war, which Europe supported, which they probably shouldn't have in hindsight, it's their own fault. They shouldn't be supporting our wars. But then again, we've got all of our bases in their territories. We've got NATO. They don't really have a choice. America could just wage war with Europeans at any time, and we're already on their soil. So they have to pretty much do whatever we say. The Afghanistan war from 2001 to 2021, the 20-year war, 6.4 million Afghanis were displaced or fled the country, and 86,000 Afghan refugees were brought to the U.S. post-withdrawal. That was just post-withdrawal. That's not even talking about how many came to the United States of that 6.4 million who were displaced. A lot of them went into Europe. Europe is always bearing the brunt of it the most, but a lot of them came to the United States. Top countries receiving the Afghan refugees were also Iran. So where do you think those Afghan refugees are going to go? They're going to come to the United States, Pakistan, Germany, the United States. These are the main countries that absorbed those Afghanistan war refugees. Syrian war, the Syrian civil war, 13.5 million Syrians were displaced in total. So
I bet you guys didn't know that one. 13.5 million Syrians were displaced because we just had to get rid of Bashar al-Assad. And I'm not here to tell you that Bashar al-Assad was a good guy. But the problem is that al-Assad was more content to do business with his region and Russia and China and not do business with us. And we can't have that. This is crumbling empire in a big way. And you can imagine with all of the refugees that are being displaced all over the place, this is a direct result of our actions. So when people complain about why do we have a migrant crisis? Well, this is a huge part of it. American empire all over the world creates the displacement of tens of millions of people. That's the way it is. So now, if we decide, God forbid, that we somehow are going to get ourselves involved in a world war starting with Iran, oh boy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Anybody who supports stricter border policies, and I do, I am not an open border guy at all. I think people should come here legally. I think we should have a good immigration policy, but it is pretty obvious why it's bad. Corporate special interests want to pay bottom dollar as low as they can to the most desperate people so that they can be rich. That's the biggest reason. But when it's war, famine, upheaval, all of it, what's going to stop it? And they're in a desperate situation, and they will seek refuge wherever they can find it. So Kim's right on the money here.
6.8 million fled abroad. Nearly 1/3 of the entire country left. That is likely what would happen to Iran, quite honestly. 1.3 million migrants entered Europe alone in 2015. 1 year, 1.3 million. How does any area of the world absorb that? Turkey has had to absorb loads of refugees. I'm surprised Turkey is still an ally to the United States, part of NATO, when they're absorbing the most refugees out of all of our Middle Eastern attacks. But Europe is getting the next brunt of it. And then, of course, they all come filing into the United States. And Europe could start demanding it, saying you have to take these refugees because you're the one who starts all these wars.
Yeah, but are we going to listen? That's the question. I'm telling you, guys, it's like we're morphing into Israel with our actions. It's like we really are a rogue state of the worst kind. And I will say, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but did you know that there was the nuclear doomsday plane that arrived in Washington, D.C.? Credit to our friends from Eisenhower Media, who are the ones who introduced us to Colonel Wilkerson and Chief Fritz. I mean, this is serious shit, guys.